What's going on, y'all? It's the KJ Nolan here, and I don't even know why I got these headphones on. I really don't need them. But we're here to talk about Kendrick Lamar, Mr. Morale, and the Big Steppers. Y'all already know this is a very polarizing album. Everybody's got their own thoughts on it. I've been seeing a lot of mixed reviews about the project. Some people love it, a lot of people hate it. You know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, it made you feel something. You know what I'm saying? So you can't really quantify whether it's good or not on the first day. You know what I'm saying? Or at least I would like to think so. But I want y'all to chime in and let me know how y'all feel about this project. Did you enjoy it? Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Like, let's get to it, man. Um, Opening up, my first thoughts about this album is that it felt like an alternative, abstract hip hop album. You know what I'm saying? Coming from one of the biggest mainstream artists in music, I could tell off the first listen that casual listeners ain't really gonna be pleased. You know what I mean? It harkens back to like To Pimp a Butterfly, where the project is experimental. It's a lot more experimental than To Pimp a Butterfly, in my personal opinion. But um it has like the acid jazz, but the funk isn't there. You know what I mean? But you still get a little bit of like this electronic and soul feel as far as the production. And overall, to me personally, it feels like what Royce the 5'9" was trying to accomplish with the album Book of Ryan. You know what I mean? So it's like you take a step back, you analyze yourself while taking out as much of your ego as you can, which is pretty much impossible to do. You know what I mean? Because we all have a sense of ego, we all have a sense of pride, we all have um these ideas of who we are, and those things kind of get fed over time. You know what I mean? So it's like um you go out into the world, you become this person, you want to be better, you want to be good in your profession, so you start to have a inflated view of yourself in some type of way. You know what I mean? And even if you take uh becoming better and doing things holistically, you could still be feeding your ego, even if it's in like a more healthy fashion. So you could tell that he's pretty much taking this time to do a lot of self-analyzation, self-realization, and doing the same with the world around him. You know what I mean? Um, but I want to know what y'all think of the project. You know what I mean? For so many people, people such as myself, I think it's tough to put out an album that's this personal, that's this self-reflecting, because ultimately we all want to be accepted. We all want to be um yeah, we want to be accepted. And in music, we want to be accepted by the ecosystem around us, which is fellow artists, music journalists, people in the media, and ultimately, that's what leads us to being so troubled at heart, because we're constantly putting ourselves out there to be vulnerable. Even if the music isn't vulnerable, we continuously offer pieces of ourselves and our thoughts to be judged, critiqued, and hopefully, I guess, seen through the gaze of like acceptance that's going to make us feel better about ourselves. Um, and of course, those things would open up the doors for a level of financial security that we don't see coming from anything else. Because a lot of us as artists and musicians don't have a great deal of other skills. We invest so heavily into music that becomes our primary thing. But none of us want to exist in a fishbowl. You know what I mean? We want to be remembered for something. We don't want to just roam aimlessly in circles without a sense of purpose, not because we're actually supposed to be doing anything, you know, in terms of humanity and why the creator put us here, but because we're born into a system of values that says what you do or what you produce for the world determines how the rest of the world will view you. And that's important to us. And I feel like this album is a close examination of all of those things, not from the sense of being a conscious rapper or to seem intelligent, but just genuinely seeking to understand the world around us. I see I got somebody tuned in here. Yeah, I mean, let me know what you feeling. Let me know your thoughts. Share this video out, please. You know what I mean? I don't want to be in here talking to myself if I don't have to. So I would love for some people to join in and chime in and let me know what you think of this project. Um, so you hear the album open up and it basically lets you know that it's about to be a therapy session, right? So this album is Kendrick Lamar's therapy sessions played out in front of the world, addressing the major events in his life that formed his views and perspectives. And when you take those things into consideration, it's really hard to quantify, is this album or are these experiences good or bad, similar to how somebody might interpret the album itself. Now, personally, I think it's a great album from a writer's perspective, from the attention to detail and everything. It feels like a great album to me. It's like super intimate thoughts. And sometimes people don't want to hear these things because it makes you think too much, or it puts you in a depressive state, or it puts you in a cathartic state, when most of us listen to music um, for the upbeat nature, you know what I mean? But this is an album that was made without the crutch of like top popular production and make you zone out and just vibe to the beat. This is something that will probably be critiqued even more than his previous albums, To Pimp a Butterfly and Damn. It's much more lyrically dense than anything he's created. And it puts me in the mind frame of like artists like A$AP Rock, Immortal Technique, Black Alicious that came before him in the early to mid 2000s. But of course, he created it with the flows and the cadences of modern music. So it's not far removed and, you know what I mean, devoid of any type of familiarity. Oh, Hurricane in the building. Man, you right on time, bro. We about to get into it. You know what I'm saying? I was just doing my little intro to give people an idea of what we talking about and how I feel about the album before I do my song by song breakdown. But man, have you heard the album? You know what I mean? Just off rip, have you heard the album? What did you think? You know what I mean? If you've heard it, yeah, I know you be trying to wait it out when Kendrick dropped, but this is one of them ones, man. Um, so the first song on the album is called United in Grief. So it lets you know off rip, you know what I'm saying, what we getting into. We not here for a pretty story. You know what I'm saying? This one wasn't made to make us feel good about ourselves, or not to make us feel, fake good about ourselves, I should say. So the album starts out, it felt like a musical to me. It had like this experimental production that felt kind of like we going back to Pimp a Butterfly mode. And he starts off saying he's been going through something for the past 18, well, he said for the past 1,855 days, and to be afraid. And it opens up like a therapy session where he says, I grieve different. So you know, I hope the psychologist is listening. He talks about how at 28 he was paying 20 million in taxes. That's something I could never relate to. So yes, sir, I'm here to support. And you know what I actually heard it. It's a lot I could say about it. Definitely was To Pimp a Butterfly vibe. Exactly. It had that mood to it, man. This ain't for the clubs by no way, shape, or form. This ain't for the clubs. This ain't for the booty club. This ain't for the kickback, getting ratchet. This is straight up music to listen to basically by yourself. Like, it's not too many artists that I could think of, especially in rap music, that makes music for you to listen to like alone. So that was interesting to me. But yeah, on this song, he talks about how he was 28 paying 20 mil in taxes. He gets into the second verse talking about how he's cheating on his girl in Chicago on his first tour. This is something I'm sure a lot of rap artists and artists in general, or just people uh in general that get to a certain stage in their life where they're now like in demand. You know what I mean? How do you deal with that? How do you go out into the world, go into uh the midst of the lions den? You know what I'm saying? You got a woman back home or somebody back home, you know what I mean? But now you are the person, you in demand. Everybody's there to see you, and you looking like a snack to everybody. You know what I mean? What up, Patricia? Thank you for joining. Appreciate it. Um, how do you react when you become the prize? You know what I'm saying? Coming from the hood or wherever you from, you was just a regular dude. You know what I mean? You might have had hood recognition or something like that where people knew you was next up, but next up only gets you a certain caliber of attention. You know what I mean? Being next up is different, right? I was wondering how people would take it, but he did some things culture wise and true to We see his personality to be that was genuine and genius in his own right. Exactly. And it's to me, man, I ain't gonna lie. I knew exactly what type of time he was on when he dropped the Heart Part 5. You know what I mean? Because remember, we talked a week ago and we said Kendrick Lamar is human, he's made a mistake. I made a mistake on what? Oh, you talking about the cheating. But we talked about the culture just last week. We was talking about the culture, and we was talking about how built by creators was good. We was just talking about the culture and how as soon as you start trying to do better by people and save the world, they turn their back on you. You know what I mean? And you could try to save the black, I don't care if it's the black community, whatever community you looking at. If you go out here and try to be the savior or try to be the voice of reason, as soon as that voice don't align with the popular opinion of that group, they gonna turn their back on you. And that's what the culture is. That's what black culture is. You know what I'm saying? If as long as you saying what we agree with in the moment, we with you. The minute that you not, we done with you forever. So but yeah, so he's talking about how he cheated on his girl on his first tour. He met this girl that loved his music and they bonded over their past traumas and pain, which led them to having sexual relations. You know what I'm saying? And he says, I grieve different. So the third verse on the song talks about how he got rich and started making big purchases. You know what I mean? I think J. Cole could definitely relate to this as well. Talks about how he bought a Rolex watch and only wore it once. I bought infinity pools I never swam in. I watched Keem buy 4 cars in 4 months. Dave bought a Porsche, so I got me a Porsche. I paid the lottery for it. I ain't wanted in portions. Poverty was the case, but the money wiping the tears away. I grieve different. So now he's talking about getting rich, getting everything that he ever wanted, to realize he never really wanted none of that. See, I ain't know all that about the cheating. Yeah, he said it. He said it clearly in the lyrics, man. He didn't hold no punches in this album. Like he really put all his laundry out there. You know what I mean? Like it's a very brave move. I tell you that, but it's very brave because I don't know if Shorty knew all that. You know what I mean? But I commend him for taking that step because it's kind of like his 444 moment, how Jay-Z kind of came out and told the world about his situation. You feel me? So but yeah, he got to this point where he got everything that he ever wanted. And really, the only reason he wanted these things is not because they were the desires of his heart, but it was the desires of poverty. You know what I mean? Not having anything makes you want a Rolly chain or a Rolly, you know what I mean? Makes you want to go out and buy cars, get a Porsche. But if that's not really something you're drawn to, once you get it, it's not going to be fulfilling to you. But the dichotomy of Kendrick Lamar is that seem like he got a solid woman. Yeah, she on the album cover. Like, despite everything, she's still there. Like, that ain't easy to come by. I tell you that. Not these days. But yeah, but you know, of course, on the dichotomy of Kendrick Lamar, at least he got the money to wipe his tears away. So whatever he's dealing with, you know, he's at least made it to a place in life where he don't got to worry about financial stability, despite any of the issues that he may have or that he's trying to currently work through. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate everybody tuned in with me. You feel me? So on the track number 2, and as I go through, I'm gonna go track by track. So let me know how y'all feel about each of these tracks. Track number 2 is called N95, and as we know, that's the name of the mask that's suggested for us all to wear while we out in the streets. You know, of course, mask mandates have been lifted, but as far as the government is concerned, they say you should wear an N95 mask. But I definitely, let me see what B talking about Hurricane. I definitely understand life presents cycles and we as people experience different things. So shit happens. So he has his own trials. Yeah, real down to earth, low key energy is rare these days. Absolutely, man. You know, and to be honest, I don't know how many people in Kendrick Lamar's position would not fall to temptation. You know what I'm saying? Just to be honest, like we got to understand that this man, it's not like he was rhyme fest. You know what I mean? This is Kendrick Lamar. He's arguably one of the most popular, one of the most impactful mainstream artists of the past 10 to 15 years in hip hop and just culturally wise. I mean, this dude's music, his last album won a Pulitzer Prize. His last couple albums have been studied in college courses. Um, in addition to being accepted by the culture. You know what I'm saying? He ain't Rob Fest, you feel me? So it's a totally different dynamic when you go out into the world. You know what I mean? It's one thing to put out like a great body of work that everybody likes, but then you go out on tour, you start meeting the people, you start meeting women that are interested in you or interested in how your mind works, you know what I mean? And that's a lot. You know what I mean? So he talked about on the first track how they bonded over their traumas and one thing led to the next. So on N95, first thing he says is take off the foo-foo, take off the clout chase, take off the Wi-Fi. You know what I'm saying? You back outside, but they still lied. So clearly he's talking about, he's making a correlation to the whole COVID situation. But on top of that, he's talking about the metaphorical mask that you put on every day when you go outside. We all put on this, said what Kendrick went Black Streets, Teddy Riley. Oh man. Well, he's talking about the mask that we all put on, not the mask you put on, you know what I'm saying, to protect from the COVID situation, but the mask you put on to make you look like somebody that you really ain't. The mask you put on to cover up the real feelings you got inside because of your fear of being judged. You know what I'm saying? So let's go right into it. Take off the money phone, take off the car loan, take off the flex and the white loss, take off the weird ass jewelry. I'm gonna take 10 steps, then I'm taking off top 5. Take off them fabricated streams and the microwave memes. It's a real world outside. Take off your idols, take off the runway. I take off the Cairo. Take off the San Tropez 5-day stay, take a $250,000, hell if I know. So now he flexing on y'all just a little bit. Take off the front flag, take off perception, take off the cop with the eye patch, take off the unloyal, take off the unsure, take off decisions I lack. Take off the fake deep, take off the fake woke, take off the I'm broke, I care, take off the gossip, take off the new logic, take that if I'm rich, I'm rare. So he basically calling out everybody. Nobody is really safe on this project. You feel me? He telling everybody, take the bullshit off. Like all the little fronts, all the little things that you believe in to make you feel like you're important, take that off and what do you got? You know what I'm saying? And I think the chorus says you ugly as fuck, right? So basically saying without all of these things all these little pretty things and trinkets that you put on to make you feel better about yourself, when you strip yourself of everything and you have nothing, who are you? And a lot of us without those things don't have a lot to show for it as far as our personality or just our mentality and thought process. You know what I'm saying? Consumerism pretty much rules us all to a degree. All right, cool. So then you get to the second verse. He says, the world in a panic, the women is stranded, the men on a run, the prophets abandoned, the Lord take advantage, the market is crashing, the industry wants niggas and bitches to sleep in a box where they making a mockery following us. This ain't Monopoly watching for love. This ain't monogamy. Y'all all getting fucked. Jumping on what the hell is that? I gotta relax when I feel all of my descendants, they come in my sleep and say I'm too real. I'm done with the sensitive, taking it personal, done with the black and the white, the wrong and the right. You hoping for change in clericals. I know the feelings that come with burial cries. He's saying some stuff on here, man. Like, and I'm here to break down the lyrics because a lot of people want to talk about the production. Some people don't like the beats. I really don't care, you know what I mean? Because it just took me to a whole nother space. The production did take some getting used to because it ain't nothing that you could really just play, you know what I mean? Like a banger, like, oh, we're gonna put this on and the whole room unanimously be like, oh, that's my joint. But it takes you somewhere else with it, you know what I mean? So then he said in the third verse, he says, can I vent all my truth? I got nothing to lose. I got problems and pools. I can swim in my faith. Cameras moving whenever I'm moving. The family suing whatever I make. So now you got relatives trying to sue him for money. Murder is stacking. The president acting. The government taxing my funds in the bank. Homies attracting the feds when I'm, homies attracting the feds when I'm bracking. Look at my reaction. My pupils on skates. Now that's a big one right there, especially for somebody like Kendrick coming from the hood, coming from the background that he comes from, family members that are affiliated with gangs and all this type of stuff. So now you got to look at the homies attracting the attracting the feds, you know what I mean? Which if y'all keeping track of what's going on right now with the Young Thug and Gunna situation, you know what I mean, man, they trying to put the RICO on them for gang affiliation when they're a rap group, you know what I mean? And I'm gonna keep saying they're a rap group because YSL has rappers. I can't speak for nobody in East Point that's claiming YSL, you know what I'm saying? And that's what we gonna say. I can't speak for none of that. But as you can see, Kendrick deals with it too. Let's think about this for a second. Tell me what you would do for aesthetic. Would you sell your soul on credit? Would you sell your bro for leverage? Where the hypocrites at? What community feel they the only ones relevant? That's a hard bar. What community feel like they the only ones relevant? Now that goes into all the intersectionality of our society as a whole, because every group feels like they've been marginalized, and every marginalized group kind of presents themselves as if their pain and trauma or what they dealt with is more valuable or more hurtful or more impactful than the next group. You know what I'm saying? Whether that be the blacks, whether that be the LGBTQ, whether that be anybody, everybody feels like their problems are urgent. And this is what we need to pay attention to now. So it's saying who feel like they more relevant, right? Where the hypocrites at? What community feel the only ones relevant? Boom. You out of pocket. You entertain the mediocre, need to stop it. You entertaining old friends when they toxic, man. I've heard this so many times. I ain't got like no toxic friends in my life that I had to cut off like that because I really don't vibe too deeply with people on a surface level. But I know so many people that have gone through this where your old friends really ain't shit. Them niggas you knew in high school, them niggas you knew in college, y'all bonded on a certain level and y'all thought y'all was gonna be cool forever, but then you start outgrowing some of their ways and they want to start trying to call you out because you growing. That shit is not the way. I'll tell you that now. You entertaining old friends when they toxic. What's your life like? Bullshit and gossip. What is cancel culture, dog? Say what I want about you niggas. I'm like Oprah, dog. I treat you crackers like I'm Jigga. Watch, I own it all. Oh, you worry about a critic? That ain't protocol. All right. So now we cooking with some grease here. You know what I'm saying? I don't think we ever heard Kendrick come out calling white folks crackers. I don't know if he might have said it on the last album. I don't think he did though. He might have, but we getting there now where he like, I'll talk about everybody. I'm Oprah. You know, Oprah don't give a damn about nobody. Oprah care about what Oprah want. Oprah, you go against Oprah agenda, she gonna call you out. She gonna run a smear campaign on you. She gonna get Gayle King to do a news breakdown on you. Like, so he like, you know what? If I ain't feeling your energy, I'm gonna call you out. I don't care who you are, black, white, Asian, persuasion, whatever it is. I'm calling everybody out. Equal opportunities. Say he went crazy with the crack. Yeah, he said like 2 or 3 songs. He came out with the cracker stuff, man. So clearly, he don't care. And the funny thing about it is, I think he just signed like a huge publishing deal with Universal last year. I think they gave him like $150 million or something. So he got their money and he's in front of the world calling them crackers. Like, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? But that's how you use that platform, boy. I know some people probably mad. So then on track 3, you get Worldwide Steppers with Kodak Black narrating this part of the problem, or part of the project, I should say. Then it goes into I'm a killer, he's a killer, she's a killer. We some killers, walking zombies trying to scratch that itch, germophobic, heteron. So now we getting into this song where it's like, okay, everybody's a killer. He introduced the concept right in the intro, right? And y'all can chime in and let me know what y'all think about these songs. I mean, we got people viewing, but they saying nothing, baby. Let's have a discourse. Let's talk about it. You know what I mean? If you agree, disagree, don't like, love, whatever, we here to talk. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, he says everybody's a killer, right? So in the first verse, he's talking about being home with his kids, being a protective father. He had writer's block for 2 years and how his state of mind has changed. I don't think like I used to. I don't blink like I used to. Awkward stares at everybody. Man, if I don't relate to that, haven't heard it yet. It wasn't playing for me at midnight. Oh, you must have went on Spotify. I think they said it crashed at midnight or something like that. Apple Music was actually trying to capital, not Apple Music, but Amazon Music was telling folks if your Spotify crashed, listen to it on Amazon Music. Kendrick is a Gemini. Kodak Black is a Gemini. And of course, the GOAT Tupac was a Gemini. We're in the age of Aquarius. Air represent freedom. Kendrick don't give a damn. Well, there you have it. Patricia says she agrees with everything with Kendrick Lamar. Okay, he could do no wrong. You agree with everything. I bet. So, all right. Awkward stares at everybody. I know that to be a fact. I understand that too much. Verse 2 talks about the first time he had sex with a white girl. Now, this is a lot. You know what I'm saying? This is a lot right here. Mogul Mall, what's good? My man, I'm just hopping on, but I call it this Black Man Musical Therapy. Black Man Musical Therapy. I'm there with you. I think it was unique and very smart move for him to incorporate Kodak in this project to bridge the gap with the youth. Smart move, even if you're in a Kodak fan, it brings the two age brackets together. That is a fact. And I think, I think he knew that there was going to be people mad that Kodak Black was on this album. I think he doesn't do anything without knowing what's to come, or at least having an idea of what's to come. He knew that putting together this album that unpacks trauma, that unpacks so many things regarding mental health, regarding the way we come up as young Black men in the areas that we come from. Kodak is a very polarizing figure. There's a lot of people that do like him at a certain level, but then there's a lot of people that don't like him, for obvious reasons. So to have him a part of that whole situation, that's the Mr. Morale in him. Exactly. He understands that he always uses like contradicting things to make a picture. You know what I mean? The contrast of the picture. And although the contrast may seem like an eyesore, you know what I mean, you got to look further into it. So talks about the first time he had sex with a white girl at 16 in high school. He was traveling with the team. I don't know if it was the basketball or the football team at that time, but this girl he meets, she's at the opposing school. Her pops was a sheriff that locked up his uncle. So he like, cool, even better. She paying for her father's sins. So basically he had an odd sense of power that came with him being with white women. I'm sure there's a lot of Black guys out there in this world that have dealt with that. I personally cannot speak from this experience, but I know there's a lot of guys out there that have lived through that and probably still are living through that right now in the choices they make with the women that they deal with. You know what I mean? There are a lot of guys out there that deal exclusively with white women, you know what I mean? And they have their own justifications as to why it is, whether that may be self-hatred, whether it be of how they were raised by their parents or their mother or the people in their family, or it could be an odd sense of power that you get, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, this is supposed to be the woman that I'm not supposed to touch, and I get to have my way with her. She's, you know what I mean? Because a lot of Black men that deal with white women, they really love the subservient nature that they get from these women. You know what I mean? So it's like now you get to reverse the role and be the master, right? So talks about that. So then the next time that he documents that he was with a white girl was Good Kid, Mad City tour overseas in Copenhagen. Whitney asked him if he had a problem, and he said he might be racist. So now we unpacking that. I like the project. I'm gonna listen to it again, but I definitely respect Kendrick pen game. But just as a project, solid wise, it could have been better production. I think the production was definitely, it's kind of an acquired taste. I feel like based on what he was trying to get across and all the chaos of everything that was going on, I think that the production is a reflection of that. Like, but that's just me. I think that, from a rap from a strictly hip hop perspective, I can definitely understand the production. Like it could have been different. You know what I mean? It's multiple ways that it could have went. But to be honest, I ain't even tripping off the beats. So then it goes back into I'm a killer, he's a killer, she's a killer, bitch. We some killers walking zombies trying to scratch that itch. Germophobic, hetero and homophobic, photoshopping lies and motives, hide your eyes, then pose for the pic. That was a big one. Hetero and homophobic. So basically, when I heard that line, I kind of went crazy a little bit because it's like, you know what? I'm afraid of everybody. Like, I don't trust none of y'all. It don't matter what you identify as. Like, I still don't fuck with you. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't because of who you lay with. I just don't fuck with you. You know what I'm saying? And I can, man, I'm telling you, like the parallels I feel between myself and the things that Kendrick says, I can't say the parallels I see between me and him because I don't know him, but the parallels I draw between myself and the things he says on record, be like, damn, man, I'm more like this nigga than I thought. Um, I may not use the terminology he uses though. But that's just me. 8 billion people on earth, silent murderers, nonprofits, preachers in church, crooks and burglars, Hollywood, corporate, and school teaching philosophies. You either gonna be dead or in jail. Killer psychology. Silent murderer. What's your body count? Who's your sponsorship? Objectify so many bitches. I killed their confidence. The media is the new religion. You killed the consciousness. Your jealousy is way too pretentious. You killed accomplishments. Niggas killed freedom of speech. Everyone's sensitive. If your opinion fuck around and leak, might as well sing your will. That's hard. Because a lot of folks been caught up in that putting your opinion out there and you getting canceled. Mogul Mall says, for those who know, every album has dropped is different as far as the production vibes. I call him the solo outcast. Every album is different. That's a very valid take, Ma. That's very valid. We've been me and Hurricane have talked about how Kendrick is kind of like the one man outcast for a long time. So you know he definitely has that in him. No album sounds the same. This definitely draws back to like a To Pimp a Butterfly on steroids, I guess you could say. But damn. Niggas killed freedom of speech. The industry has killed the creators. I'd be the first to say to each exec, I'm saving your children. We can't negotiate. That's a hard line. Ain't no negotiating this money. I'm saving your children. Pay me what I'm asking for. I caught a couple bodies myself, slid my community. My last Christmas toy drive in Compton handed out eulogies. Not because the rags in the park had red gradient, but because the high blood pressure food flooded the catering. That's hard. That's hard. Like now we getting into the diet of Black America, man. We eat some foul shit, man. We eat I don't eat chitlins, but we be eating chitlins, the fucking intestines. You know what I mean? And I think every culture eats chitlins. Matter of fact, I don't understand why they got their own version of chitlins. I think the Hispanic community call it tripa. That shit foul. You know what I'm saying? But we talking about that fried chicken. We talking about goddamn. We be eating vegetables today, but we eat the vegetable. We cook them bitches till they turn brown. We take green beans and cook them till they brown, bro. What we supposed to get out of that? What we doing, man? Oh man, so what's the difference between your life? We hide in motives. The fatalities in reality bring you closure. The noble person that go to work and pray like he supposed to slaughter people too. Your murderer just a bit slower. That's crazy, man. Man, he said, and I wish they would try me with the chip. Man, pig feet, man, all type of crazy stuff. And in Trinidad, they eat something like chitlins. We call it pone. It's intestines and blood. Yeah, I figured. Like I know I seen a variation of chitlins in like every culture, especially when they do them travel shows and they be eating like the street food from the vendors. Everybody be serving pig intestines in their own little way. They be putting it on tacos, all type of stuff. I'm like, man, y'all got me. So then you got Die Hard. Die Hard is like, to me, Die Hard is like the single from the album. It don't sound like a single, but it's like the most single radio friendly song on the album. Kind of y'all remember All the Stars, I think was the name of it, with him and SZA off the Black Panther soundtrack. That's what dropped their finger in grease. Niggas were, yeah, exactly. Exactly. Long as you sprinkle a little bit of water on that grease, see if it's popping, anything go in that motherfucker, man. We gonna make a meal. We gonna make a meal. But yeah, Die Hard reminds me of All the Stars, but it's not like a mainstream reach, but it's kind of like the feel-good song off the album. Like, it's not too many of those. Definitely a palate cleanser after the heavy content and organized chaos from the other songs. But it's still addressing duality and you know, the layers within himself, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I think it was a dope moment for Blast, you know what I'm saying, to have a moment on the album. Blast is like the new dude coming out the West. I listen to Blast all the time, so I thought that was a extremely good look. But I really don't have a lot of commentary to offer about that song. How did y'all feel about Die Hard? Let me know how y'all felt about that one. You know what I'm saying? So then you go into the next song, which is Father Time. This one I really liked a lot when I first heard it. I think I might have ran that one back. Yeah, Die Hard definitely would be a single. Yeah, I could see that for sure. Um, with this Father Time, man, he's told that he needs therapy, and you can hear him kind of declining. It sounds like that was Whitney telling him he need therapy. The song directly addresses having daddy issues, which is a unique perspective because normally when we talk about daddy issues, it comes from people that um, don't have their father in the home. Normally, it's from a single parent household that we talk about daddy issues, right? But it's been well documented that Kendrick grew up with his father in the household and that he learned a lot from his pops. But the lessons that he did learn was primarily about masculinity, not trusting nobody, never showing weakness or vulnerability, embracing competition. So much so that I think the first verse sounds like he's playing basketball, he's getting fouled, and you know what I mean, going in the house. You can't go in the house saying you lost so that you got roughed up. They're gonna send you back out. If they don't go crazy during Father's Day with this record, that'll remain to be seen, Ma, for real. Cause I kind of feel like the people that hear this record when Father's Day roll around, they're not gonna be trying to play that. You know what I'm saying? Especially the fathers out there. The fathers out there on Father's Day gonna be they're gonna be playing Kodak. They're gonna be playing Kodak, man. They're gonna be looking forward to getting a new tie. And you know, that's the gifts that fathers get. They get them ties. On Mother's Day, they get all the good shit. You know what I'm saying? People got to get right, man, eating wise. That's why I can't complain about Kendrick album, because the words hit and he addressing shit that few are able to address. Exactly. Hey, man, for real, the fathers out there gonna be playing Kodak. Real talk. But yeah, so it's like first verse, he's breaking down his experience getting fouled, playing basketball, not getting roughed up, blah, blah, blah. But then the second verse, his grandmother died, and his father went straight back to work right after the funeral, didn't give himself no time to grieve, didn't give himself no time to breathe, just went to work. And Kendrick sitting there asking him, why you going back to work so soon? And he like, nigga, don't nobody care about what you're going through. You got to provide for the family. And that's something that I think we all deal with. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that's just a man thing, but that's just like a society thing at this point in life. Like, you know, I think back when the world moved a little slower before the social media and all this stuff, even before that, like just before the world was so damn expensive to live in, maybe you could take time to grieve a loved one, but today you get 2.5 seconds. You don't even get to cry. You know what I mean? If that's the emotion you feeling, you damn near gotta you gotta go on social media and put a cry filter on your face and then move on. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, world don't care about what you're going through. You got to provide for the family. Then he says the line, when Kanye got back with Drake, I was slightly confused. Guess I'm not as mature as I think. Got some growing to do. That line was poignant to me because I've been over here questioning what the hell is up with this Kanye and Drake dynamic. I did a whole live about it when they albums dropped. Man, people forget you next week. Man, shit. But you get 48 hours. It's Eddie Murphy, 48 hours. If that. You know what I mean? You're gonna get one post, niggas gonna say, damn, they took, bruh. And then it's right back to it. You know how I go. They can't stop us if we see the mistakes, but till then, let's give the women a break. Man, grown men with daddy issues. The self-reflection on this album is crazy. Only other artists that I've heard kind of go that Kanye and Drake shit so suspect. Who am I to speak on? Exactly. You know, it seemed like a money play though. It seemed like big business is behind that. It seemed like they profit off of the confusion. Like one day is beef, the next day is good, the next day is benefiting Larry Hoover, but we don't get to see the funds actually getting deposited into his fund. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's a lot at stake. You got the whole J Prince Foundation, you know what I mean? Pulling strings. So you're right, it is suspect. But yeah, the only other artists I've heard like dissect themselves on this in this fashion is Saba, who's one of my favorites. You know what I mean? Then you go into the Rich Interlude. I really ain't got a lot to say about Rich Interlude. That's Kodak Black coming back onto the album. Coming about talking about poverty, getting into the rap game where you see the same thing, smart dudes making dumb decisions, niggas in the chain gang, all that type of stuff. You thought extortion, exactly, yeah, exactly, extortion. That's why I said it. The whole Jay Prince, like it just seemed like a lot of moving parts. It definitely, you know, they talk about the mob ties and shoot. I don't feel like Drake looked too comfortable standing next to Jay Prince neither in that picture when all three of them was there. It didn't look like nobody was comfortable but Jay Prince. It looked like he came in and like he came in with the hand of God. You know what I'm saying? Or with the arms of God. Like, look, this is the this is the play, okay? Now you either gonna get with it or get left in this house tonight. So then you go into Rich Spirit. Celebrity do not mean integrity. Rich nigga broke phone. This is the song where he breaks down some of the hardships he deals with when it comes to fame. Looking at Kendrick, to me, it seems like he got rich just to come back and live a more simplified and disconnected life than when he was trying to get on. And he tells the world, quit playing with me before I turn you to a song. That's a hard bar. When you really understand the power of music, to tell somebody quit playing with me before I turn you to a song, like that's a hard bar. Cause you know when you everybody know you get in a relationship and you get in a relationship and that shit go bad, what's the first thing you gonna do as an artist? You gonna write about that shit, man. You gonna be like, man, that motherfucker tried to play me. Whoop de whoop 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 whoop. Put your ass in a song. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then once the song, especially if you're an artist of a certain caliber, like a Kendrick Lamar, once you talk about somebody, it's gonna be immortalized. You know what I mean? Like, think about, I mean, even on a smaller level, look at Ray J, right? I hit it first. Think about how people still quote that song to this day. Think about how it still comes up in the Kim Kardashian saga that still will never end. You know what I mean? Like music lives forever, especially if you hit the right buttons. The boy Kanye was looking like, come on, man. I can't fuck with you. I'm fasting. Yeah, that was hard. That was hard. He mentioned fasting like 3-4 times on the album too. That was interesting to me. Like it's certain things like the repetitive nature of some of the phrases that he used on the project definitely had meaning. You know what I mean? I don't think none of the words was just placed there for the sake of being there. You telling a woman that, man, trying to tell you. um and it's just like, when people try to play you, they don't understand how long term it really is. You know what I mean? Like people think they could play you, they could besmirch your name, they could come out and talk down on you, say you was the scum of the earth. But then the next time they see you, they think it's all good. You supposed to hug them, you supposed to do them a favor, let them hold 20. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh man, hey, we passed that, right? Nah, I don't put your ass in a song. It's gonna live forever. This shit gonna stick. So I hope it was worth it. You know what I'm saying? That's how I interpreted that. Then he talked about how his cousin tried to sue him. It's his second time in the album that he's talked about family suing him for money. So this is clearly something that's been going on in his family where he's the cash cow. Now, even you can't trust your relatives. You know what I mean? Everybody want a piece of the pie. If they can't get it up out you by asking, they're gonna try to take it. Of course, the security too strong to just physically take it out from them. So they're gonna try to get it legally. Then you get this third verse where he say, frat brother, real nigga, that brother, we just left the score. Give me that, brother, spirit medium. I don't rap, brother. We headed there now. Are you strapped, brother? Hey, peacemaker, but I'm not naive, brother. Hey, got your homies, gotta watch your homies and police, brother. Hey, clout chasing, hell of a disease, brother. I'm fasting 4 days out the week, brother. I pray to God that you realize the entourage is dead. I pray to God that you not lacking when you off the meds. I pray to God she know them Cabo trips don't last forever, but she argue with her mama, go and get them kids. I pray to God you actually pray when somebody dies. Thoughts and prayers way better off the timelines. False claim and not cute. I'm mortified. The new earth and hot pursuit, 200 lives. Man, he got some shit in here, man. Talking about, hope you realize that the entourage is dead. Man, fasting and crackers with standout terminology. I heard him use on that album. I was like, damn, I ain't Kendrick going Khalid Muhammad on this one. Yeah, definitely. Most definitely. Hey man, I hope you realize the entourage is dead. It's all y'all tag along people that thought y'all was gonna come with me to the top and finesse me, try to, you know how it go, man. Look at the Beanie Siegel situation, man. You know what I'm saying? Where how he attached himself to Meek. You know what I mean? Hey, just come through to the show for 10 minutes, do one joint, not knowing Beans finna try to get a little kickback off booking Meek, but he ain't trying to pay. You know what I'm saying? I love Beans, but just looking back at that situation, it had him looking funny in the light. You know what I mean? I pray to God you're not lacking when you off the meds. That's another one. Especially right now, everybody in hip hop, everybody in the rap world is like bigging up the meds, bigging up the Percocets, bigging up the Addies. You know what I'm saying? But how many people is really on point while they popping these joints? Get caught. Everybody talking about don't get caught lacking, but they really be the ones lacking. No, not Siegel Street was getting down like that. Yeah, that was the whole play. That was the whole reason he got punched out at the show. That was the whole background. um, she argued with her mom. I hope you know them trips to Cabo don't last forever, but she argued with her mama going get them kids. You know, that's another one that we don't be speaking on. We are the Instagram generation. We see the young ladies on Instagram taking them flights. You know what I'm saying? Trips to Cabo. You know what I'm saying? Going overseas, getting flued out. Who taking care of your kids, man? Where your kids at? Why they ain't with you? But you argue with your mama going get them kids, man. You know, these the critiques that can't nobody really say on a day-to-day basis. You get cursed out, but you put it in a song and you could dance to it. You know what I'm saying? I pray to God you actually pray when somebody dies. Thoughts and prayers way better off the timeline. You know how niggas be saying the city girl trend, the city trend girl. Oh man, oh man. I hope you actually pray when somebody dies. Man, people be talking about thoughts and prayers and don't be saying no prayers, don't be doing no meditation. They don't be connecting with the natural in no type of way. Talking about thoughts and prayers. I guess typing it up make it valid, you know. So then we get into the next song, which is one of the. This song was hard for me to get through. Actually, this "We Cry Together" joint, uh, really hard for me to get through because Kendrick has at least one song on just about every album where it's kind of like drunk conversations or like where he's talking about himself and he's yelling and screaming. You feel me? Like it's like, damn, this one it almost took me back to like Eminem days when he put out Kim and shit like that, where he was like yelling at the woman. Nigga be dressed like Aladdin and shit, doing no prayer. Facts. Let me cut this light on. Exactly. Exactly. But yeah, man, we cry together. This is a live argument played out between Kendrick and his girl, or insert any man and woman relationship, especially in the black community. I don't think nothing was said on this song that ain't nobody ever heard in real life. But it was just tough for me to sit through it, man. Like I ain't even, I ain't even really put the lyrics down on this one. I'll be going through the lyrics on these, but I was like, man, this is toxic, man. This is toxic, man. Like, but it did remind me of how, Kendrick and Cole, you know, they they got a long history of like writing songs from a woman's perspective. Like, if y'all remember that verse on Sing About Me on Good Kid Mad City, where the female in the neighborhood was yeah, To Pimp a Butterfly had you on it. But on Good Kid Mad City, he had the verse that talked about the girl that was like, you putting me on blast, which was actually the girl from Section 80 that he wrote from her perspectives. Like, so he's been doing this. This is a continuation, kind of, in my opinion, where he do these songs in women's perspective. But it was nice to actually have a woman's voice this time around. You feel me? Because sometimes just hearing a male try to express how a woman is feeling, that shit get a little weird. I've heard that convo way too much in the hood. Big facts, big facts. I like the song Don't Need to Be Heard because that shit is definitely, that shit going on every day, man. That shit going on right now in somebody's neighborhood, and somebody, the whole building is hearing that shit right now somewhere. Shireen, yep. So, what I mean? That nigga went from he got the car, put it in her name. Uh, she tried to get in the car to go to work. He like, nah, I like you better parked here. Like, this today gonna be the day you walk down to the R. Kelly and Harvey Weinstein shit. Like, it's you the reason niggas like them even have a platform. Down to him saying how come female R&B artists never collab because y'all hating on each other. Why you stop picking up the phone when your homegirl got a man? All this type of stuff. Just calling out the most rotten things you could. You know what I'm saying? And then it ends with them smashing. Like, man, if that ain't how it go down, for real, you know what I'm saying? Argue, call each other the fucking scum of the earth just for y'all to roll around in the bed. That's crazy to me. Me personally, I've never done that. I never played that game. That song was like him reflecting a mirror on the community, the shit people be in denial in relationships. about, but it's really going on. Even the sex part, all that shit is dysfunctional habits. Exactly. Because you was taught that that's what it's how it's supposed to go. Make up. You break up and make up. It's supposed to be explosive until it ends. And that's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? But for real, life ain't really supposed to be like that, man. I refuse to be out here. You know what I mean? I had my fair share of arguments back in the day, but I ain't with that shit, man. Me and my girl today, we have to talk. If you ain't trying to talk, we just gonna have to talk. You know what I'm saying? If it can't be fixed, then it can't be fixed. Fuck all that. We ain't got time to be set. Exactly. You can't be set tripping in the household. Y'all supposed to be the unit, and y'all ain't even got the unified front. You know what I'm saying? But that's how it is. That's how it is for a lot of situations. It's a lot of people living through that right now. I'm sure all of us in this chat got friends living through it, or you know what I mean, some of us might actually be going through it right now, because you know what I mean, there's people in here that ain't really chiming in. We don't know what their situation is, and not to even be funny, but it's a lot of us living through it. So, but then you get the tap dancing at the end of the song, and it says stop tap dancing around the conversation. You know what I mean? And then it goes into Purple Hearts featuring Summer Walker and Ghostface Killer. Once again, I gotta applaud Kendrick for cut the light on now. I want to get more light in the room. I gotta commend Kendrick for continuing to put OG legends from the 90s on these albums. You know what I'm saying? Back to when he put RZA on Section 80, up to MC8 on Good Kid, Mad City, up to he had Kid Capri all over Damn. Snoop was on To Pimp a Butterfly, and that was like one of the only features other than Rhapsody. So he been having like classic legendary features all over his discography with people that you wouldn't necessarily expect him to be aligned with. You know what I mean? Like, it makes sense once you hear it, but when you see it on paper, it'd be like, damn, what is an artist as big as Kendrick doing collabing with like OGs like that? And then Summer Walker, like that was an unlikely collaboration to me too, because I always felt like if he needed a female or a woman on the song, it would be SZA or somebody like that. But it actually worked. Said nice collab. Another one, you think it was genius. Said Kid Capri was hard on Damn, should have brought him back. Yeah, but you know, that's the whole thing. Never pull the same trick twice. That's like the ethos throughout Kendrick Lamar's career. So in this Purple Hearts joint, he says, "This is my undisputed truth. My life is like forbidden fruit. My chick know better than I do. A woman's worth. I barely went to church. I'd rather fast with you than fuck it up fucking with skirts because I'm irrational. A nigga still gonna be a nigga. Emoji heart, my family pictures. Two-stepping away from rappers. I don't trust their true intentions. I'm not in the music business. I've been in the human business. Whole life been social distance. Hoes like when you not tripping. I ducked the party. Who said they saw me? Crown on Bob Marley, wrists on Yo Gotti. They gonna judge your life for a couple likes on a double tap. Them hoes is sorry. They all get bodied. I bless it that you have an open heart. I bless that you forgive. I bless it that you can learn from a loss. I bless it that you heal. I bless one day that you attract somebody with your mind exact. A patient life flaws, bless them twice, and they'll bless you back. You know, it's kind of crazy, man. Like, when you really look at his lyrics, it's really poetry. You know what I mean? It's not too many rappers that's out today who you could just take their verses bar for bar, put it on a page, read it out loud, and it actually feels like poetry. A lot of rap just come out sounding like rap. Yeah, shut the fuck up when you hear love talking. Yeah, exactly. Like, that's crazy. Exactly. That was a good call, Ma. I was actually gonna get to that shut the fuck up when you hear love talking part 2. But that's a great transition. Cause I guess that's what you're supposed to do, right? You gotta listen. But he said his girl know better than he do. Now that's a situation a lot of men have messed up. A lot of men out in this world, man, they done had women that knew better than they did, and they messed it up. Oh man, a nigga gonna be a nigga. Sad. Then he say, I'm two-stepping away from rappers. I don't trust their true intentions. This was another one. That was yet another. Oh, snap. Obaro done entered the chat. He got that George Clinton on the. Yeah, he did have George Clinton on To Pimp a Butterfly. That is a fact. So true. Niggas fucked up. Got me paying for this. Man, I'm trying to tell you, man. Like, that's some real one, man. Like, man, so many of our brothers done fucked up and fumbled the bag. That good, young, gracious young men out here is paying the cost. You know what I'm saying? We used to pay the cost to be the boss. Now we paying the cost to take a loss. You feel me? It's crazy out here, man. Now we paying the cost to take the loss. I ducked the party. Who said they saw me? Crown on Bob Marley, wrist on Yo Gotti. That was a flex. Quick flex. You know what I'm saying? So then you get into Summer Walker. She say, how's love when it's heart to your soul? But my nigga left his ass on the road. And she talking about homeboy, ain't she? What's his name? What's the producer name that she was dealing with? Forgot his name that quick, man. But my nigga left his ass on the road, gossiping about some shit you don't know. Oh, you hoe. I hate it here. Baby daddy's still on my phone. I hate it here. Asking if I've been on the pole. I hate it here. If you keep lurking on the low, if you a fan, just let me know. Now, if it's love, I deserve to get some head on the balcony sometime. Okay, now she going raunchy on him. And if I feel where your heart could be, you still gonna be a part of me. I love my love. Summer in the storm, I cannot conform. I just might love you still. Just think I love me more. I'm gonna skip over this eating the booty part. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna skip over that because we just gonna skip that. Y'all could go to a Trick Daddy live for that one. She said some wild. We gonna skip that. Yeah, London on the track. We got London on the track, man. London, man. The homie London on the track, man. Skip. We gonna skip it. We gonna do the Shannon Sharp skip. You feel me? But then Ghostface comes in and spits Ghostface verse of the year. You know what I mean? Ghost Dini come through. You know what I mean? He talking about washing Jesus' feet with his tears. You know what I'm saying? Only the way Ghost Dini can. You know what I'm saying? Shut the fuck up when you hear love talking, man. Yeah, he said it in the most aggressive way that only Ghost Dini could do it, man. Shout out to Ghost, Supreme Clientele, Pretty Tony coming through. We ain't skip. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Ghost Dini, man, coming through. We ain't heard him in a minute. So then that's the end of the first half of the album. Then we come in with Count Me Out for the second disc, right? And by the time we got to the second portion, because we don't do discs these days, but by the time we got to the second portion of the album, I didn't know what to expect because I'm like, okay. Yeah, Ghost, that I don't feel like that was a Ghostface beat for him to come through like how we used to it. You know what I mean? I feel like the beat was way slower than what Ghost would have needed to be, the Wizard of Poetry. But at the same time, I think what he did on there, he said what he needed to say, and it got across, man. You know, Ghost still spitting though. Ghost got some new shit. Like, you should look up some of the joints he been dropping. Like, Ghost still got it. Ain't no such thing as a GFK beat. Nah, you tripping, bro. You tripping. Like, if you really know Ghost Dini, you know, I mean, there's definitely a Ghost beat. Go back and listen to Supreme Clientele. Go back and listen to More Fish and Fish Scale. It's definitely Ghostface beats out there. Maybe they don't make them like that these days. I will say that. You ain't gonna find too many of them. But there is a Ghostface beat. So then by the time we get to the second portion of the album, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know where we was going because I'm like, okay, I felt like the first half might have been Mr. Morale, and I was expecting like the Big Steppers to be like maybe a compilation. I maybe expected it to be maybe a appearance from Black Hippie. I expected maybe it was gonna have Future on there. You know what I'm saying? Oh, he said Ghost Dini murk anything. Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. He can, but you know, there definitely is a certain type of beat where Ghostface shines in all of his poetic wizardry. You know what I mean? So we get into Count Me Out, disc 2, right? So one of these lives, I'm gonna make things right. With the wrongs I've done, that's one of you now. With the father, son, till then I fight. Rain on me, put the blame on me. Got guilt, got hurt, got shame on me. Got 6 magazines that's aimed at me. Done every magazine. What's fame to me? That's hard. That's hard. I done did every magazine. What's fame to me? Why am I trying to impress you niggas? I done did everything that I wanted to do. I done did everything that y'all trying to do. Why would I be here to impress y'all? But y'all got 6 magazines aimed at me. Y'all trying to shoot me down for shit that I already atoned with. This time around, I trust myself. Please everybody else but myself. All else fails, I was myself. Outdone fear, outdone myself. This year, you better win yourself. Mask on the babies, mask on the op. Wear masks in the neighborhood stores when you shop, but a mask won't hide who you are inside. Looked around, the realities carved in the lies. Wipe my ego, dodge my pride. Look myself in the mirror, Amityville, I ain't seen nothing scarier. I fought like a pit bull terrier. Blood I shed could fill up aquariums. Tell my angels, carry them. Every emotion been deprived. Even my strong points couldn't survive. If I didn't learn to love myself, forgive myself 100 times. How you gonna earn my trust when the lies run deep? When you was at your lowest, tell me where the hoes was at. Tell me where the bros was at. You know what I'm saying? He's spitting on this joint. He's spitting on this joint, bruh. Now, again, production-wise, people might not feel like it was the best beats, but he's talking some shit on here, man. Let me tell you about the women I know. I know karma like to follow us strong. I know millionaires that feel alone. Anytime I couldn't find God, I could still find myself through a song. Many find their life in a phone. Boy, if that ain't the truth. See, it sounds like poetry when you read it. It sounds like some fucking shit that we would have sat in class and had to read and been like, write a essay about what this mean to you. Like, this shit ain't rap, man. Like, he pulled it off as raps, but I don't feel like these was raps. Many find their life in a phone, bruh. It's almost a prerequisite that we find our life in a phone these days. Like, if you ain't if you ain't spending all your days on social media, what is you doing? You out the loop. If you ain't got no content to appeal to the world, you losing. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't turning on the cameras or turning on the photos or in Photoshop doing something, you can't make no money. At least not no real money. You could probably go out and do like hand-to-hand services, but in today's world, it's all about building things up and getting them into automation mode. So you gotta be on social media, you know what I'm saying? So niggas be finding their life in the phone. I'm finna drop one on them. Fuck it, I got some poetry for that. Hey, we talked about that, man. You got to go ahead and you got to drop one of them off. You know what I'm saying? That's Mando. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much what I took away from the song. Then you get in the crown, and he goes and says up front, can't please everybody. You know what I'm saying? You go out your way to make the coin available. You go out your way to make the compromise, but say no one time, everything you done, give them amnesia. Like that shit hit me. You could be, like I said at the top of the live, you could be out here saving the world. You could be doing everything. You could do everything right. But the moment you don't align with what people want from you, you ain't shit. You done for. You get canceled. Look at Will Smith, bro. Spotless record for 20 something years. This man gave Chris Rock a love tap on TV, and they want to take the movies away from him. They want to stop production on the next Bad Boys movie or whatever the movie was. You know what I'm saying? Any plans he had on doing another Independence Day got canceled. You know what I'm saying? But let you come out here and be the baby or somebody, smack a nigga in Walmart or shoot a nigga in Walmart, you the biggest thing on the fucking screen. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that tells me that we become victims of our own history, right? The same thing that makes us stand out, the same thing that makes us who we are. If you ever go against it, there's no your track record means nothing. You know what I mean? Like you could score 50 every game. You drop 12 and 1, your whole career is like that nigga trash now. He fell off. You know what I mean? Basically, like you done for him. No contract, no nothing. Like you come back and score 50 again, it don't even mean nothing because but you scored 12 2 games ago. Like, and it's just gonna keep following you. You put up 50 for another 5 games. Nope. You scored 12 6 games ago. Like, we done with you. It's crazy. But like I said, niggas like the baby, his track record's so fucked up that when he do fucked up shit, it's like you just expect it and you accept it. But if you got a clean record and you stumble one good time, niggas is off you. I can't even please myself. I thought a new car would help, but the new car get old, I'm sure I want something else. That's a fact. So how can I please you when I can't even please myself? How the hell I'm gonna be the world to you when shit, I just got this new car. I thought it was gonna be something. Car done got old. I need another one. You know what I'm saying? So now we getting into the self-reflection of, nigga, I'm not finna. The only answer to it is to not look, to be nothing to the world. Like, I'm not the savior. I'm not your inspiration. I'm not your motivation. If I'm not important to you, I'm always gonna let you down. So I can't live for that. Now, I can't control if you feel that way about me, but I'm not beholden to that standard. I will not ingest that. You know what I mean? I think that's powerful because I feel like a lot of times we be reluctant leaders and it feels like we have to embrace it. You know what I mean? Because of whatever gifts you have or whatever gets put on your heart, you speak so eloquently, you speak so well that people naturally gravitate to you. You feel like you have to be the spokesperson. Hell no, you don't have to be. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, being a people pleaser is a fool's mission. You feel me? Fool's mission. And if you don't believe me, look at anybody who attempted. They all took the fall. and we could say we learned from them. We was motivated and inspired. Say they changed people's hearts, people's minds. Ain't shit changed, bro. The world is just as bad as it ever been, if not worse. Now, the way it presents itself may be different, but the symptoms is still there. So then we get into Silent Hill featuring Kodak. This one is kind of like, this one feels like a single too. Push these niggas off me like, who? I fuck with that one. This reminds me of Element a little bit. If I got this level pussy, nigga, I'm gonna make it look sexy. Like that it puts me in that mind frame. Like, all right, I done gave y'all 12, 13 songs full of trauma and all of this stuff. Let me give y'all something to cleanse the palate again. And then Kodak came in, and Kodak was spitting actually. You know, there's people out there that feel like Kodak outshined Kendrick on this song Silent Hill. This is the one where the production kind of stepped in a little bit better than some of the other beats on the album. But I don't really have a lot to say about that song because it's just a song. It's kind of like putting that type of song where it's like, okay, yeah, this is the one I could listen to on this type of album, almost does it a disservice, although I understand its purpose. So then you get into the Savior interlude, which is Baby Keem. Baby Keem, man, what y'all think about Baby Keem? How y'all feel about Keem, yo? Y'all like Baby Keem? I rock with him. I don't really listen to a lot of his solo music, but I think he really shined on this project. Comes in, if the intro of the song, number one, if you derive your sense of identity from being a victim, let's say bad things were done to you when you were a child, and you develop a sense of self that is based on the bad things that happen to you. Like, that's crazy. You form a personality based on the bad things that happen to you. That's crazy, but a lot of us live that way. Said he cool, had to go back through his album. I really didn't care for the album all that much. Outside of the songs with Kendrick on it, I wasn't really banging with it too much. And I actually like Keem. I think he has talent. He reminds me of, he reminds me of like if Kendrick was 19. I think he got some growing to do, but he's young. You ever seen your mama strung out while you studied division? Your uncle ever stole from you day after Christmas? Seen both of those on the county jail visits. The 1st and 15th, the only religion. Noodles in the microwave, Shark Tank tidal wave, grandma shooting niggas, blood on the highway, crosses on the dashboard. You just want a platform. I want to take everything that I asked for. Catch me a body. I put that on anything but my mama. She's showing a pattern for certain. I think it's white panties and minimal condoms. So for those of y'all that don't know, Baby Keem's mother was a drug addict. My uncle would tell me the shit in the movies could only be magic. This year I did 43 shows and took it all home to buy him a casket. Jack of all trades, got money out the way, put my heart in the faith. I'm good, love. Cousin in the courts, he jumped out the porch. Turn a brick to a Porsche. I'm good, love. Catch us. You know I'm going to rack up. I need the advance and the equity to match up. The engineer dead if the drive don't back up. These words come of God. You can never out-rap us. Niggas got to walk cautious. Nowadays, I'm a new prophet. Game dead, no autopsy. City girl with the new hobby. Catch a body, put product in the tie-dye. Nigga about the pussy, give me 5. I ain't with all that. Gun dirty, got the 30 in the purse tighten. So now he's just talking. I ain't even going to get into all that. But in the beginning of this joint, he was spitting some stuff, man. Like very vivid detail, especially talking about how his mama was when he was at the house. Ever seen your mama strung out while you studied division? That's some real ass shit, some morbid ass real ass shit. But that was his experience. I'm still trying to learn him as an artist, but I hear him on Kendrick shit. I'm gonna do, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's his little cousin. That was tough. When I heard that line, though, I was like, damn, your uncle ever stole from you day after Christmas? I know a lot of kids out there that went through that one. Seen both of those on the county jail visits. That was crazy. I like him making a name for himself instead of being a carbon copy. Definitely sounds similar. Yeah, he sounds similar, like as far as like the cadences and the vocal inflection, but he has his own story, which I appreciate. You know, he don't really try to be too hard. He throw gun bars in here every now and then, but really, I mean, he's from a different place. You know what I mean? Kendrick is from Compton. Excuse me. Keem is from Vegas. So I think they had relatively different experiences. You know what I mean? So he can't really go about the good kid, mad city route. He kind of got to go a different angle, which I appreciate. But I didn't care for his album all that much. So then you get to the actual song Savior. Comes in with the intro. Kendrick says, Kendrick made you think about it, but he is not your savior. Cole made you feel empowered, but he is not your savior. Future said, get a money counter, but he is not your savior. Braun made you give his flowers, but he is not your savior. So this whole album up to this point, he's been dealing with this savior complex of feeling like the expectations that are placed upon him are unrealistic. You know what I mean? Which I can definitely identify with. There's a lot of people out there that'll put that pressure on him. So in this song, he basically tells you, whoever you think I am, I'm not. Mr. Morale, give me high five 2 times. Cynical defendant, judge of my life. Backpedaling what they say. You do the cha-cha. I'ma stand on it 6'5" from 5'5". Fun fact, I ain't taking shit back. Like it when they pro-black, but I'm more Kodak black. Tell me where the money at. Where the homies at? Universal call out. I can remember only that. So, like it when they pro-black, but I'm more Kodak black. Just kind of let you know, like, yeah, I do have a pro-black side to me, but I do also have a ratchet side to me. I do have a multi-layered personality, and y'all just gonna have to accept it. Show me the real. Show me that you bleed. Hello, crackers. Here we go with the crackers again. I seen niggas arguing about who's blacker. Even blacked out screens and called it solidarity. Meditating in silence made you want to tell on me. Then in the chorus it says, "Bitch, are you happy for me? Really, are you happy for me? Smile on my face, but are you happy for me? I'm out the way. Are you happy for me?" So niggas be smiling. It be good times, but the person standing right next to you could be the one plotting on you. Kendrick actually is unique enough to where the trap crowd will listen to him and respect what he says. I feel like Keem is more towards a Kendrick, but in a trap vibe, rapping content wise. Exactly. Comes in for the next verse. Bite their tongues in rap lyrics, scared to be crucified about a song, but they won't admit it. Politically correct is how you keep an opinion. Niggas is tight-lipped. Fuck who dare to be different. Seen a Christian say the vaccine market of beast. Then he caught COVID and prayed to Pfizer for relief. Then I caught COVID and started to question Kyrie. Will I stay organic or hurt in this bed for 2 weeks? Damn. Do you want peace? Then watch us in the streets. One protest for you, 365 for me. Vladimir making nightmares, but that's how we all think. The collective conscious, calamities on repeat. Damn. Truth, it resides in the fire. The need of its dire, deceiving the lies. I know. Truth, it resides in the fire. The need of its dire, deceiving the lies. The cat is out the bag. I'm not your savior. I find it just as difficult to love thy neighbors, especially when people got ambiguous favors, but their heart's not in it. Everything's for the paper. The struggle for the right side of history. Independent thought is like an eternal enemy. Capitalist posing as compassion is be offending me. Yeah, suck my dick with authenticity. Yeah, Tupac dead. Got to think for yourself. Yeah, heroes looking for the villains to help. I never been sophisticated, same face, being manipulative, such a required taste. I rubbed elbows with people that was for the people. They all greedy. I don't care for no public speaking. And they like to wonder where I've been, protecting my soul in the valley of silence. I'm not your savior. You know what I'm saying? So in this, he lets you know everybody is out here faking. The front face that you put on for the world, and I'm guilty of this too sometimes. Like I said, I feel a lot of the things that Kendrick be saying or said in this album, but I probably wouldn't say it the way he do. I think me and Hurricane are actually the product of that type of duality. I be feeling the same way Hurricane be feeling, but I ain't gonna say that shit like how he talk. You know what I mean? Cause he just a different person than I am. He's more of that I don't give a fuck type. You know what I'm saying? And I love that about him. You know what I mean? That's why we click. But for me, I could probably say the same thing, but I'm gonna say it a little bit different. You know what I mean? But we all do it. But Kendrick's calling it out for what it is. You know what I mean? Saving face. Nigga said Tupac dead. You gotta think for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we balance each other out. Exactly. You know what I mean? And I think we better for it. You know what I mean? Because we both could give each other a different way of looking at things. I think perspective is always uh key. You know what I mean? Keeping an open mind. What you think may not always be right. You might have your heart in the right place, but it don't mean what you said was completely right. And vice versa for anybody else. So I rubbed elbows with people that was for the people, and they all greedy. Now that's another one. You know what I mean? Think about homegirl. What's her name? Patrice from Black Lives Matter. She just came out and talked about how the house that she bought that was supposed to be exclusively for Black Lives Matter was used for like parties and events. They had a whole fucking stage concert stage set up at the Black Lives Matter house. Who performed at that house? You know what I'm saying? But these the people that we giving money to for a cause that we really don't know where the money going. You feel me? Now they under investigation. You got niggas leaving the organization left and right, talking about how they wish they would have did things differently. Nah, no the fuck you don't. You don't you don't wish you did it differently. You wish you did it smarter, but you don't wish you did it differently. You wish you covered your tracks a little better. You feel me? But so people been wondering where Kendrick was. That was a big conversation throughout 2020, 2021 with all the COVID, with the yeah, come on, fam. How you got a Black Lives Matter influencer house? Influencer house? We on Bel Air now? Coco Jones, we on Bel Air? Crazy how they pull that off, man. Cause they pulled the wool on us, man. They stuck to their guns long enough. They said Black Lives Matter, and they made it a thing long enough to where the money just started coming. Enough to buy a 100-acre mansion. So they asked where Kendrick was at for the last 2 years. He said he'd been protecting his soul. Excuse me. So then we get into one of the most critically the most critically critiqued songs on the album, this Auntie Diaries. Man, there's a lot of people on Twitter really up in arms about this song. This song, Auntie Diaries, is addressing his understanding of gender and how his auntie is now what he calls a man now. Or, I don't know the history on this person he's speaking about, but it seems to me, she probably became, like a stud, you know what I mean? Because we're talking about back in the 90s. I don't know if people were physically getting sex changes back then. I can't say if they were or weren't. But I'm thinking, the way he described her, she showed up with a hat to the back, baggy clothes, looking like his other uncles. You know what I mean? So now, whatever. Throughout his upbringing, they remained close. He spoke about how they would ride around in her car through the city, bumping underground music, how kids will react when he get picked up from school. And of course, during the 90s, everybody used to drop the insult with the F-bomb that we no longer can say. You feel me? Not that I want to say it, but didn't know how impactful it really was. Kendrick's other uncles even fell back because, well, he didn't know. And he asked his mom, like, why they fell back on Unc. You know what I'm saying? And his mother describes it as jealousy because he always had more women and more money. So it's like call him anything but broke. So then he goes on to talk about his cousin, who he also went to school, that wasn't quite like all the other boys. His little cousin played with dolls. I'm sure a lot of us can relate to this, where we got the little cousin that, isn't as masculine as the other little boys. You know what I'm saying? Might get pushed around and might not defend himself as much. He might have, you know, more sisters and girl cousins in the house. I might have grew up with all his aunties, just different. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, although he knew he was softer or whatever you want to call him, Kendrick always loved him the same. Even at times when they would joke and drop the F-bomb in school, he would say it a little softer around him, trying to be somewhat conscious of his feelings as a kid. You know what I mean? He really didn't know what was going on. But now he says his cousin Demetrius is Marianne now. And ever since Demetrius became Marianne, their relationship is different. You know what I'm saying? A little more awkward. And it seemed like Demetrius stopped coming around because everything became offensive to him. You know what I'm saying? Or her. You know what I mean? So now everything is offensive. Everything that they grew up saying, the sense of humor that they shared, they don't share it no more. So then he speaks on an incident in church on Easter Sunday where everything seemed to be fine until the pastor started calling out his cousin and the uncle to make a point about living in an abomination. You know what I'm saying? So Kendrick stands up to defend his cousin in the middle of church, shocks everybody in the church because he chose humanity over religion. You know what I'm saying? He's defending his family. Whatever the family's got to say about it, that's the family. But y'all ain't gonna be trying my people. So family got closer, everything was forgiven. You know what I mean? Then he harkens back to a time where he brought this white girl on stage to sing one of his songs. And I remember when this shit happened. I think this was like around Bobby Boucher Waterboy type. Oh, goddamn. But I remember when this happened and people were so up in arms. It was like one of them things back, and it was like during the blog era though. Like it was an incident that came and went very fast, where the white girl came on stage and gave her the mic, and she was singing the nigga parts in his song. And I remember Schoolboy Q and folks came to his defense and was like, bruh, if it's in the song, how am I gonna expect them not to say it? Played out how it played out, but he brings the story back around, basically saying that his cousin would allow him to say the F-bomb together with him, but only if he let a white girl say nigga, telling him it's no room for contradiction. Basically saying if you want to have the right to say something that's offensive to me, you got to let somebody say something that would be deemed as offensive to you. That's about as deep as I'm gonna go on that one. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just so much controversy around the song, so many people up in arms. And I ain't here to offend nobody. That's not what we came here to do. So my opinion on the situation is null and void. But the song I do feel is a very interesting conversation about gender, you know what I'm saying, about heteronormativity and all of that type of stuff that people be doing think pieces about. I think it was very indicative of the times. I think it's a conversation in hip hop that hasn't been had on record. So this is where Kendrick kind of shines as an artist, is that he takes tough topics that people generally would never talk about, and he puts it in a way that's digestible for people to kind of, at least, even if you don't like it, you could at least try to understand where he's coming from. You feel me? So I do appreciate that about the song. Then you get into Mr. Morale, right? So following the concert where the girl said nigga, you get this person in the intro of the song basically in an outrage. You know what I mean? It sounded like it was either a fan that was at the show or maybe a journalist. You know what I mean? Probably a journalist, because journalists feel like they word is law. So he opens up the song talking to his son Enoch. And he says, Enoch, your father just detoxed. My calling is right on time. Transformation, I must have 1,000 lives and like 3,000 wives. You should know that I'm slightly off, fighting off demons that been outside, better known as myself. I'm a demigod. Every thought is creative. Sometimes I'm afraid of my open mind. So he's talking to his son, letting him know, like, your father is imperfect. You know what I'm saying? Which is, I think, is a very powerful conversation to have with your child, because for the most part, as parents, people try to come across like they perfect, like they know all, like they have all the answers. But then over time, as we get older as children and grow into adults, we find out that our parents didn't have all the right answers, and that a lot of the mistakes or the things that we went through in our life was based on the fact that they didn't have the answers, and they was figuring it out as they were going, and we just happened to be along for the ride. So he's telling them straight up, I must had 1,000 lives, 3,000 wives. I'm slightly off. You know what I mean? And says every thought is creative. Sometimes I'm afraid of my open mind. I feel like um that's a reflection of the previous song. Like, my creativity could be uh my enemy at times. So then you get into the second verse. He's talking to his daughter Uzi. He says, Uzi, your father's in deep meditation. My spirit's awake and my brain is asleep. I got a new temperature, sharpening multiple swords in the faith I believe. I think about Robert Kelly. If he weren't molested, I wondered if life would fail him. I wonder if Oprah found closure the way that she posted the hurt that women carry. My mother abused young, like all of the other black mothers where we from. SSI buried family members at the repast. They serving Popeye's chicken. What you know about black trauma? Half Finished Kicking Back is another genre. Tyler Perry, the face of 1,000 rappers, using violence to cover what really happened. I know somebody listening. Past life regressions to know my conditions is based off experience. Comma for comma, my habits insensitive. Watching my cousin struggle with addiction, then watching her firstborn make a million, and both of them off the grid for forgiveness. I'm sacrificing myself to start the healing. So seems to me that this album, he's saying, is he's sacrificing himself to start the healing. So there's so many different things to unpack, especially if you want to look at the culture, right? The culture as referenced in The Heart Part 5, where he says, hurt people, fuck calling it culture, right? So he already told y'all last week that this was going to be something different. You know what I'm saying? So now we're looking at how he's pointing out all the ills of society. He's not pointing them out from a judgmental space, though. He's just pointing it out and unpacking them. Like, because I said, this album is like a therapy session, right? So he say, we at the repast serving Popeye's chicken. We mourning somebody dying while we eating the food that's going to kill us. What you know about black trauma? You know what I'm saying? Tyler Perry, the face of 1,000 rappers. Of course, we know Tyler Perry is famous for dressing up like Medea, using violence to cover what really happened. You know what I mean? Tyler Perry takes domestic violence and stuff like that, uses it in his movies, but we don't really know what shaped Tyler Perry's reality to make him come up with this type of shit. You know what I mean? To make that like the frequent subject of his movies and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Then they say, watching my cousin struggle with addiction and watching her firstborn make a million. That's hard. You know what I'm saying? Because this child was born in fucked up conditions with a mother struggling with addiction. So how is it that he could come out and make $1 million? It's not, the odds are so stacked up against you in a situation like that. And both of them off the grid for forgiveness. So then you get to hydrate, it's time to heal. Say you're frustrated, I can feel. Huddle up, tie the flag, call the troops, holler back. Like, I think it's a pretty powerful song in my own estimation. So then we get into what I honestly feel is one of the most important songs on the album. It's not my favorite song on the album by any stretch, but I think it's probably the most important one. So Mother/Sober. Now, it was hard for me to sit through this song because I really did not like the beat. I did not care for the piano. I didn't really care for the kick drum and the sparse little vocals that was in there. You know what I'm saying? So the first time I listened to it, I paused it and I came back to it later, to be honest. Because as you can tell, I'm reading. I wrote these notes about this album so I could do this with y'all today. So here we go. This song here is addressing domestic violence, sexual abuse, child molestation. You know what I'm saying? Which is things that normally are not addressed in rap music, and in many cases probably shouldn't be addressed in rap music because they're such delicate topics that if you say the wrong thing, or even just sometimes use the wrong terminology, once again, it could be an ugly situation. But there's so many folks that have been affected by these things, men and women, but it's not something that people could just have happen to them and you just forget about it and live like everything's all good. You know what I mean? Being taken advantage of in the most fragile way, which is something we tend to overlook or downplay, as if people, if they get taken advantage of and mishandled and violated as children, we think they're supposed to just grow up and grow out of those circumstances, but nobody ever knows what their healing process has been like. You know what I mean? We just go out into the world and we just cross paths with people and don't really know their story, right? So in the song, he opens up with a verse talking about his desire to heal everybody. And then he goes into a story about somebody putting their hands on his mother when he was 5 years old. All right. And at the time when he witnessed this in front of him, he's wishing that he would have grabbed a gun and defended his mom, but he was frozen stiff and couldn't do nothing, which is, I think, is a super common story. And I ain't even just gonna say in the hood. I think there's people of all races, creed, whatever, that have experienced this before. You know what I mean? Witnessing this type of traumatic event and not being able to do nothing. You know what I mean? Just because you're a small little kid, what are you really supposed to do? You're gonna go jump on whoever it is and they gonna smack you too. You know what I mean? Unfortunately. But it seems like this event stuck with him throughout his life. You know what I mean? Always feeling guilt for what he didn't do. So then the second verse talks about an incident where his family thought that his cousin touched him. You know what I mean? But he says it never happened. But no matter how many times he would reassure them that it never happened, nobody ever believed him. Maybe because Kendrick was such an innocent child, they felt like he was being protective of the situation and not wanting to see somebody get in trouble or whatever the case may be. Kids are very delicate. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they can understand the fragility of a situation, even though they don't fully comprehend it. They may try to save somebody because they don't want to see the results, right? But he's like insisting, like, yo, it never happened. And he says that he picked up rapping as a coping mechanism to make him feel better about himself. Because I don't know, you know what I mean, what his household was like, how you know what I mean, he felt about himself as a young man. But he picked up rapping as like a sport, you know what I mean, which I think all of us that are in hip hop can kind of relate to in some form or fashion. I think the desire to rap and rap especially is kind of like one of those things where we try to make up for something we feel we may lack. You know what I mean? Because no matter what you lack, if you could get in front of a group of people and wow them with this talent, you know what I mean, everything else plays the back seat. So he got famous from rapping and still feels uneasy about the fact that no one in his family believes him to this day that his cousin never touched him. And he also describes how his uncle eventually retaliated in revenge for the incident in which his mother was abused, right? So going into the third verse, he talks about his time being in the music industry. You know what I'm saying? He's never been one to drink or smoke, but as this album has revealed, Kendrick Lamar is admitting to having a sex addiction. You know what I'm saying? Which I think a lot of people, not just in hip hop, but just in this world in general, probably are too prideful to ever admit. I think there's a lot of people that suffer from it. I think there's a lot of people that know they suffer from it, but they would never say it out loud. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, I think wasn't Ghostface on Marriage Boot Camp or something for some shit like that to tie it all in. Um, but this is an addiction that manifested itself most likely due to the fact of, you know what I mean, he's a rapper, he's out in the world, he's got easy access to women that are willing to do anything he could possibly ask, and anything that he don't ask for, they willing to do it up front. You know what I'm saying? Because he's in the 1% at this point, you know what I mean? So um yeah, he admits to sex addiction, right? Um Then he finally asked his mother why she never believed him when he said no about being molested as a child. And she reveals to him that the same thing happened to her when she was back in Chicago. So she always felt like he was probably lying out of fear, like I said before, or it was probably a reflection of how she handled it herself. You know what I mean? Like she must have saw something in him that reminded her of herself, like he might not be telling the truth. He then talks about how he toured the world for 7 years, chasing manhood, consistently cheating on his girl Whitney, but the act made him feel like he had superpowers. By the time he made it home, she was gone. So there was a point in time where his girl Whitney left. You know what I mean? Like he had gone out and become like the biggest rapper in the world next to Drake. And after touring for 7 years, he comes back and the girl that's been holding him down the whole time, or the woman that's been holding him down the whole time, she ain't fucking with him. So then he goes into how black families, our mothers and our sisters have been consistently violated and abused, and that trauma is passed down like a tradition, you know what I mean? So then he goes back into his time in the music industry and noticing the same symptoms of abuse and undiagnosed trauma that he sees in the rappers around him. You know what I'm saying? So at this point, he says, every other brother has been compromised. I know the secrets. Every other rapper sexually abused. I see them daily burying the pain in chains and tattoos. So listen close before you start to pass judgment on how we move. Learn how we cope whenever his uncle had to walk in from school. His anger grows deep in misogyny. This is post-traumatic, black families and a sodomy. Today is still active. So I set free myself from all the guilt that I thought I made. So I set free my mother, all the hurt that she titled shame. So I set free my cousin Chaotic from my mother's pain. I hope Hakeem made you proud because you ain't die in vain. I set free the power of Whitney. May she heal us all. So I set free our children. May good karma keep them with God. So I set free the hearts filled with hatred. Keep our bodies sacred. As I set free all you abusers. This is transformation. So he's setting free all the ills, all of the generational curses, all the trauma that's continued to hold him and his family back, and black families in general. Basically saying, setting free all of these things. It's time to let the shit go. Not to, you know what I mean, let it go on the strength of avoiding it, but we've now dissected it, we've diagnosed it. Now we have to deal with it. We've dealt with it, and now we got to move forward. We can't let the chains continue to hold us back, right? So then we get into the last song on the album called Mirror. And of course, in Mirror, this is the final statement where he lets the world know, whatever expectations you may have of me, I choose myself. I'm sorry, right? So this comes back to the self-preservation and self-love. You know what I mean? He says, I'm sorry I didn't change the world, my friend. I was too busy building mine again. So this whole album has been about his journey as a young man that was born into the generational curses, like I talked about for the last song, things that he never chose, but he had to deal with. You know what I mean? Just like all of us, we're born into our families with whatever they come with, and we just got to endure it until we go out into the world on our own and we start our own families. And hopefully we have the emotional intelligence, the understanding to break away from some of the things that didn't serve us during that childhood, right? So everything from his mother's dealing with domestic and sexual abuse, family thinking he was dealing with the same, witnessing his auntie's journey of becoming a man, to Demetrius becoming Mary Ann, down to his own transgressions and passed down misogyny, sexual addiction, and the abuse of power, which we heard him also reference on To Pimp a Butterfly, down to COVID in the world around us where everyone's wearing masks, but the masks become a way to cover our own insecurities, self-doubts, and how we deal with the world. This is him accepting all of these things and handling them in a way that he chooses his own peace. He chooses to tend to his own garden instead of trying to change the world, you know what I mean? Which is what so many people, the responsibility they have put on him. They've put this expectation on him that Kendrick is, you know, the answer to so many problems. You know what I mean? And although it does sound unrealistic, there is a percentage of his fan base that looks at him in that type of way. So instead of trying to change the world, I feel like this album is a challenge, you know what I mean, for others to do the same. Like, don't come out here trying to change the world. Do what you can to better yourself, better your household, spread love within your household. You know what I'm saying? Kill those toxic traits, you know what I mean, as early as possible, and let the good things manifest, and that will inherently change the world. You know what I mean? Because if we all are individually on our own paths and doing well, and not just well in terms of like financially, but well as people holistically, then we're gonna naturally have a better world. You know what I'm saying? But for y'all to be trying to put that responsibility on me, that's too much for me to bear. You know what I mean? And there's no way that I could ever live up to that expectation. So I think this is a perfect bookend to the album. It's not my favorite song from the album, but it's not a surprising end to the album, because I feel like from Good Kid, Mad City up to now, he always ends the album on kind of like this type of note, except on Damn. You know what I'm saying? Damn was Duckworth, you know what I mean? The story of his father and Top Dog or whatever. But every other album that he put out up to this point ended on one of these type of notes. Like I Love Myself was at the end of To Pimp a Butterfly. What was that song he had with Mary J. Blige at the end of Good Kid, Mad City? Definitely not one of my favorite Kendrick Lamar songs, but it kind of reminded me of this song. So all in all, man, you know, I don't got no 5 mic rating system or nothing to put on this album or nothing like that. But I did feel like I knew it was going to be an important album, which is why I set up the time to even do this live and talk with y'all and try to get people's perspectives on what they was going to be hearing, because I feel like he set this up for this type of forum, you know what I mean? A community type of forum, a communal forum where we could all talk about these things, share our feelings, whether right or wrong, and you know what I mean, but not looking at it from the perspective of right or wrong. You know what I mean? Just being open to, okay, this is how I've digested the information based on my understanding. Now, if I expand my understanding, how am I going to react? You know what I mean? So, all in all, I do think that this is it's tough, man. It's one of my favorite Kendrick albums. It's not my overall favorite. I think my favorite in general is To Pimp a Butterfly. But I feel like this one might have been executed better as a songwriter. Now, as a collection of songs, I think To Pimp a Butterfly fits my palette better based on like what I would like to hear. But I feel like the writing in this album is so much more dense. Like it really feels like a book of poetry, to be honest, which I think is probably what some people don't like about it. But I feel like if I was at the height of my career, I dropped everything that you could possibly want from me. I've dropped he dropped what many deem as the best album since Illmatic with Good Kid, Mad City. He dropped the artistic masterpiece with To Pimp a Butterfly. He dropped the commercial success. I think half of Damn played on the radio. You know what I'm saying? The Black Panther soundtrack, he delved into like the trap. That was like Trap Kendrick with the Black Panther soundtrack. So it's like, all right, so what else is there to do that would like impress people? You know what I mean? I think at that point, you don't make it to impress nobody. You make what's true to you. If this is what he's really been going through for the past 5 years, I think that's what you get. So that's my assessment of the album. I appreciate those of y'all that tuned in. I appreciate those of y'all that actually chimed in with your opinions and comments, because y'all helped me get through it. You know what I'm saying? To help me feel like I wasn't talking to myself. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate everybody that joined. I'm actually about to sign out because I'm about to link up with my baby. You know what I mean? So I'm going to holler at y'all later. Much love and respect. I hope that we could do more of these lives in the future. You know what I mean? Not sure how many other albums we can dissect to this level, but I would love to try. All right. So I'm gonna see y'all later. If you have not already subscribed to my channel, make sure you go ahead and do that. You know what I'm saying? Because we're gonna be doing more of this. And I just got hella different content on this channel that I think would just be great for y'all. You feel me? So, all right, man. Peace. All right, Hurricane. My boy. Appreciate it. I didn't even know you was in here. Thank you. All right, y'all. Have a good night.